Hi, so this is the end of October and it's our weekly update from the Selva. You can hear the sounds of mowing lawns, building maloccas in the background, and it is nothing to do with the autumn that we would have expected, although the winter and the rainy season is starting, so it rains heavily just about every day. This week has been quite a horrible one to some extent, because after Daniel's illness then I got ill and was laid in the bed for quite a while, so I can even turn and show you mosquito net. That is the bed, and as you can imagine, that's just like quite boring when you've come to Peru and you really want to go and help and you want to go out and do things, and you are stuck in bed all day just trying to lie prone, because otherwise you just feel very, very nauseous. So kind of thought I was getting better. I managed to go out a little bit, and then I made the mistake on Saturday morning of thinking I was better and going out to help with the weekly shop in the Mercado of Belén, which is quite a popular tourist site in Iquitos. And midway through, just imagine a Peruvian market full of every kind of vegetable, every kind of meat, chicken, and the smells were so strong that by the end I didn't know if I needed to be sick or run to the bathroom. So I probably had a bit of a crisis and basically had to leave very, very sharply back in a motor taxi. So, you know, been just trying to get through. You can kind of see, I guess, that we think it's what we're going to call the jungle diet, which is where just by being here everyone is getting thinner and thinner. Daniel's talked about it. And it's the same with me, even apart from the illness. We're just shrinking, which is odd. Quite an interesting thing that happens. Anyway, then further into the week, I guess we had that. On top of that, then we had staying in bed all the time, not be able to go out so much with the children, and then also thinking a bit about, you know, what are we here to do? So we tried to make an action plan, which I shall show you. And we thought about all the different things we can do to help around here. But then we actually realised that a lot of things we're doing are to do with, for example, we have a t-shirt business, we're running this blog, but there weren't actually that many things we were doing for the charity, which we knew and we realised, and we'd had a lack of communication around what we were doing, because we had been trying to run English classes wider than this charity. Currently we do it just within the charity. We've been trying to do it a bit wider, but what we really wanted to do was help with some of the charity's work. So we had heard rumours, remember I talked about clues before, we had heard clues about an association, clues about almost a bread making business, and we thought, wow, can't we help? And then one morning we were sitting in having breakfast, and the founder of the charity came and told us that she had spoken to someone else about our project, and it turned out that she had spoken to someone else about our project, and that they had decided together about this thing that we were going to do, and they hadn't had a recent update from us because they hadn't asked. And it turned out that we were supposed to be teaching a curriculum of English to young people all over Iquitos, and we just thought, oh my goodness, like, you know, you want to come help, but you don't want to just be taken for your first language, which is exactly what was happening. And lack of communication. So at that moment we almost, like, it had been coupled with some things going on, you know, troubles of English being your first language, kind of ways you get treated sometimes if people don't think you understand. But wow, that pushed us over, and we just thought we have to go. So we actually had a get out plan. We nearly even left it all at the weekend, and we spoke to the founder of the charity when she came back from Lima, and actually said to her, we don't think we can spend 10 months here, we're not happy, we don't suit being here. And our reasons were like the lack of communication and not being able to work on things we wanted to do, not being able to help sufficiently in the charity in ways that almost use our brain, like helping the charity rather than working on English for the majority of our time, which wasn't happening. So it looks like it's going to get better, because we had a really good conversation And we were told to be patient, yes, but we were also told that, we will be kept more in the loop, that we'll get involved in more things. And they told us about a really cool idea, which is that they have some bread making machines, and they might be making panettone, so that's that kind of like fruit cake, but my Peruvian father likes to eat it with butter, and he eats it around Christmas time. And they're thinking of trying to get some young people to learn how to make panettone, so that should be really good, and hopefully we can get involved in organising that. It's touch and go though, because we will only stay if something like that comes up and happens. Aside from that, it's been a lot of organisation, we've been working with the volunteers, and I think actually things are looking up. We're starting to keep a vocabulary book of Spanish words we learn every day, and trying to integrate more with the volunteers, though it can be tough and a struggle. So to an extent, quite a hard week this week, but I just say, if you ever volunteer abroad and you have problems, the one thing you need is honesty, and to tell the people involved, have a discussion, and remember you don't need to stay there if you don't want to. But yeah, enough from me. See you next week.